It's an ordinance amending Chapter 8350, Council Rules of Order of the Code to impose a 5-minute limitation on all members of the public wishing to speak, not only those speaking during the public speaking portion of the meeting.
In the 7 years that I have been attending City Council meetings, the Council never imposed a time limit on speakers for second reading ordinances. They never found the need to do it. Why do it now? The council people that were up there prior to you had difficult decisions and things to make, and I think when the public spoke before them, it did give them an opportunity to see what the public was feeling. And it's true, not everyone in the public has the opportunity to come to meetings. Suggestions. Start the council meetings on time. Okay? Now, tonight's council meeting, President banged the gavel at 6:13. Not bad. Over the past 7 years, I've seen it go as late as 6:30, quarter to 7. Wasn't bad tonight at 6:13, but it actually could have started on time. Because you had 5 council members here, so it could start. This is going to be a tough one. Tonight there was only one. Okay, but the pre-session award ceremonies, these are usually scheduled on the council agenda under 10 resolutions, which are after number 4, second reading ordinances, and number 5, public request for hearing speakers. This ordinance that we're looking to put in is saying, we're looking to put this in because we feel we need to be fair and let the public speak on the public side of it. Well, maybe at the start of the meeting, we do not move any resolutions ahead of everything, simply for photo op moments and council speeches. Now that sounds very mean, not caring. That's not the way I want to come off. I understand what happened tonight, that's fine. Sometimes there are 3, 4, 5 of those that extend out. If you want to do that, if it's necessary, move them to another day and take all the pictures, make all the speeches you want without impacting the length of a council meeting. Council meetings are for you to be here. You were voted into this office to listen to us. Public speaking, I agree, 5 minutes is more than enough. But on ordinances, when people have a particular point they want to bring across, you really owe it to them to listen.
Citizen participation in the process of lawmaking is a great thing. If a person is doing this to disrupt or slow down the process or for their own gratification, then it should be curtailed, and we have that capability today. If the speaker is trying to give relevant information or opinion, they should be encouraged to be effective in doing just that. It is not the amount of time spent on public comment that is the problem. The issue at hand is to ensure that our time is productive and well spent. So I ask the council to vote no on Ordinance 14.085.
Speaker?
Yes. In the past, when a mayor or city council felt threatened, they cut public speaking. Now, public speaking used to be 10 minutes, and then it was cut to 5. Now, if you're not going to limit my 5 minutes that I've requested, and you're going to limit me to 5 minutes in discussion with the council, you're cutting off dialogue in the middle of the debate. Maybe I have a question, I have risen a question, and you feel that that deserves more debate. If you adopt this ordinance, that means that in the middle of this discussion, when you get to 5 minutes, I do not have any more input. The people should have more input, not less. Thank you.
Kabili Tayari. I have served 12 years on the Jersey City Board, being 2 years as the president of the board. And I understand that sometimes there are a few people that you probably wish you didn't have to hear. But they do have the right to freedom of speech. I will say this to all of you, as somebody who's been in that position, that first and foremost, you have learned by now who the few insincere people are who come before you to this microphone. There's nothing that's going to change that. I don't like things that publicly the Ku Klux Klan is allowed to stand up and say. But based on freedom of speech, they have a right to say it. So first and foremost, what you need to be concerned about is what Jamie Balcer just said. Not focusing on those who are annoyed, even many in the public, but focusing on making sure, particularly on the second reading ordinances, you know and I know, serving as an appointed person, that most people who are reading these ordinances even before they come to the city council start to get clarity the night that they start addressing some of their real questions, some of their real concerns. Some people don't believe they should go and talk to you one-on-one. And it's not your fault. That's just the perception that they have, whether you're on the board of the city council or the board of freeholders. Now, I would only say to you, as somebody who has served in both, elected and appointed, served as president of the Board of Education, please do not do this. This does not help democracy. It hinders it. It does not help understanding. It hinders it. Because for many people I've seen come to this mic who have testified to the fact that they have PhDs, they have raised questions about things during second reading ordinances that they were not clear on after talking to you. And when I say you, I mean before you got on the council. Talking to us who sit there, talking even to the mayor, and have been sincere, yet receive further clarity by having the power of second reading ordinances. Don't do this. God bless you. Thank you.
Do you ask the administration to curtail their 5 minutes? 5 minutes? Do you ask the developer to limit their time to 5 minutes, either in caucus or here? Do you ask anyone about their point of view for developer? I would say the answer is no. In the caucus meeting, they go on and they go on and they go on. And the administration people go on and go on. And they do not get a 5 minutes. We are not important to you. That's what you're saying by passing this. And once we have 5 minutes, as Jamie Balcer said, the next council may make it 4 minutes or 3 minutes because they have to go home and make dinner for their child. So when does it stop? The public has a certain amount of wisdom that you need. I have to say that. They don't have the legal status you have, but they have a certain amount of wisdom that you need. And I can look back here and I can say, there are many times Kabili said something, Jamie Balcer had a certain knowledge, and they will speak on an ordinance. And I learned a lot from the people who came before me, like Joe Duffy. Because I followed this for really 40 years. And I know when certain things happen and why it happened, and maybe we shouldn't do that again. But you're sending a message. The public is here, but the developers are here. And they won't have 5 minutes in the caucus meeting. They'll speak as much as they want to get their point, of course. But we, nothing. So I'm asking you to vote no. Thank you.
For this city, or any city, to really move forward, it is absolutely critical that each resident that is willing to take the time to come here is heard in completion. That is critical.
I'm going to ask you to vote no on this ordinance, not because it should be 7 minutes or 8 minutes, but because it's wrong. Many people over the history of this country have fought very hard and lost their lives to allow us the ability to our liberty, our freedom of speech, We have a press corps that we may not always like, but can write with that liberty. We have a public that can speak, express our views on things because we have that liberty. In general, as a principle, I don't like things that take away from the people, and I don't see a reason why this has to be done to take away from our ability to speak on second reading ordinances. Councilman Boggiano, I know you're a former Marine. I know that as a man of the armed services, one of the things that's most important is standing up for those things that we feel so strongly about.
Esther?
Yeah?
I ask all the speakers, as was said before, to speak through the council president.
Into the ordinance, please.
Councilman Lavarro, if you could tell Councilman Boggiano that as a former Marine, I would expect that he would uphold this ability, this liberty to the people. And also, from a strategic point of view on issues such as second reading ordinances on the budget, I don't know how anyone would even be able to do that in 5 minutes. So I'm asking the entire council to vote this down. Councilman Lavarro, if you could please tell Councilman Boggiano that I do understand that perhaps his ego might be a little bruised about this, that it might be a difficult thing to do. But please tell Councilman Boggiano that I have much faith in him, that he is the man that I believe that he is, and that he will stand here tonight and say that he moves this off the table. Thank you.
Mia Scanga, good evening. I've been coming to council meetings probably like 28 out of the 31 years that I've lived in Jersey City. And, you know, the composition changes all the time. Like looking at the composition now, the only person who's been on the council prior to the full administration is the council president. I've been to plenty of budget meetings, plenty of council meetings. I've been to meetings till 2 o'clock in the morning. Quite frankly, I can think of the administration where I spent the most time there, and that was the Scanga administration. We spent a lot of time fighting, whether it was abatements or the recreation fund, what have you. And that took time. That took time. Now, you guys haven't been to any of those meetings. And there's a lot of knowledge with the public here. Just like, for instance, at a budget meeting I went to, I asked a ton of questions. And the former business, one of them was about why parking lot tax revenue was going down. That didn't make any sense to me. So I asked the business administrator whether there was an audit done of the parking lots. He said, no, I don't need to have an audit because I get a computer printout. I said, what? It's a cash business. Well, they did an audit. The city council decided to vote and do an audit. Believe me, it took me more than 5 minutes just on that one topic on the budget. And they found out that Peter Mocco had a parking lot, Liberty Harbor North, where he was renting spaces to teachers and what have you near the light rail, and wasn't paying the city the 14% parking lot tax. That came about because of that budget hearing. If I had had 5 minutes, I probably went over 10 items. And only because I made the point how ridiculous.
There's a slight debate here going on about whether this is on topic or not.
Well, the reason of my comment is on topic is that because I had the time to discuss this with the council and the business administrator, right, it took a lot more than 5 minutes. So there's a lot of complicated issues. Most of the council people don't have the history, they don't have the knowledge, they don't know what's happened in the past. And the public is the one who foots the tax bill. And the taxes are always going up, even with all this development. So you have to wonder, what would happen if we didn't have the public here to speak against some of the issues that's come up in the past? So I say, limit people who are off topic, listen to the recommendations that you've heard from other members, which I agree with wholeheartedly, and vote no against this ordinance. Because maybe you're tired of staying till 10 o'clock or whatever. We've been here till 2 a.m., dozens of meetings in the past. Many of you may not be here in 3 years, but this ordinance will be on the books, and we will suffer tremendously because of it.
Admittedly, this is my first council meeting. I'm new to the area. It must be difficult to be on the receiving end of a line like this, and I can imagine that folks ramble a lot. I'd like to just point out a couple things I've noticed just being here tonight for the first time. One council member said that he didn't have time to read a document that he had gotten just a couple days before. I can imagine that everyone has that problem. I've also heard some folks here who some of them seem very steeped in what's going on, and I think that they might be able to help fill in gaps like that. There must be other procedural fixes. I understand off-topic is a big issue. I think the councilman has done a great job tonight of keeping folks on topic on this particular issue, which has got a very long line. I think that's the way to go rather than setting an arbitrary time limit. I can imagine that bond ordinances, that issuances are very complex and take a lot more time than I'm going to take tonight. Just in closing, in reading the resolutions, I noticed that it made reference to the High Court and how it was found by that court that it was constitutional to have a 5-minute time limit. That's the low bar. I don't think just because they've set that bar, we need to sink down to it. And I'd like you to consider voting no. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Carrington. I haven't read the entire ordinance, and I'm not clear as to everything that's being said. But I will say this: I am kind of varied on this issue, primarily because if you are saying you need to hold it for 5 minutes as a form of governmental regulation, I can understand that. But it's not easy for people to explain things in detail in 5 minutes, especially when you're going to make a law. You see, when the law is made, it is made. And it is very difficult to reverse that law if you bring proof somewhere down the line that the law was incorrect. For example, if you were speaking in terms of the budget, and someone had conflicting numbers comparatively to what you have presented, it cannot be done in just 5 minutes. But then again, you must also ask, then when does the 5 minutes start or when it does begin? If I'm speaking and making a reference or showing a video of something that I think is of importance, and then I need a response from the municipality, then does that include my 5 minutes if the person is responding to that? Or does my 5 minutes stop when I stop speaking and start when I start to speak?
We interact with the administration, we ask questions, they give us answers. It takes more than 5 minutes. It's not public comment, it's not a one-way conversation. You cannot take a case of budgets and things like that. We need more time.
Yes. Okay, based on my observations and experiences since the 70s to now of the council meetings, I concur with the salient points that many of the speakers made regarding not limiting it to 5 minutes. Thank you, and for the purpose of purposing.
Good evening, Council. L-O-R-I. It's as simple as plain Jane.
Yeah, well, there's a few ways. Smith is
S-M-I-T-H, yes. I'm a lifelong resident of the city. I've never lived anywhere else. I've never been a resident of any other state or country for more than a short period of time. So my comments today to ask you to vote against this amendment of limiting 5 to 5 minutes comments from the public, and I understand it's talking about a particular code to impose a 5-minute limitations on the public wishing to speak, not only those speaking during the public speaking portion of the meeting. I understand that. But I'm asking you to vote no, mainly because I don't understand what country we would be in if you voted yes. Right now, we are engaged in actual war activities, bombing other countries, trying to keep people who are imposing their will on other people by force of arms. Our men and women in armed services have been engaged in a war, more than one war, 2 wars, for over 12 years, some of them coming back scarred. I just don't know what country they would have been defending if we allowed this to go through. The right for people to speak is the messy part of democracy. That's what they are defending. And that's what I think we all want to have happen. I can understand limiting to being on topic, but I cannot understand limiting the time. That's what I would like you to do, to vote no, to no limitations to public speaking.
Robert, can a motion still be made to table? After the...
No, vote it down. We need to vote it down. Vote it down. I made the motion, Black says no. Vote it down. I made the motion.
That's right. She said.
We're voting on the...
The council can table this
after...
No. I'm not suggesting a course of action. I'm just telling you what the council can do. Council, we'll start with Councilor Gajewski.
This is a final vote.
The sponsor of the ordinance saying one was destroyed, so I'm just going to abstain.
Councilman Ramchal.
Robert, and each and every one of you who's speaking tonight on this ordinance, you have to know where I stand. Because from the first reading, I said no, because that's taxation with no representation. We hold office, we went, the people have to campaign. If we had that in our literature that we're going to cut their rights to speak, we would never be sitting here. And I said no, the people have a right to speak.
Councilperson Boggiano.
Right. First of all, I want to explain to a couple of people that spoke. It wasn't for us up here that this was being proposed. It was being proposed for many of the people of this city here that came here, women with children that had to get home, that didn't want to sit here till 11 o'clock at night, 11:30 at night. And a lot of other people who walked out that door and then called the next morning and said they weren't going to stay here till 12 o'clock at night. So that's the reason. I don't give a darn whether I stay here till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, all right? I put 40, 50 hours or 60 hours in the week. I'm here every day in the week, most of the day, and I'm here at night. So don't tell me about time. I don't want to hear it. So I'll tell you what. I proposed it because of the people. Not for me, not for any of them. For the people out there. And I think it's a shame of some of the remarks I heard tonight. And Jason, you were way off base, like Franny said. So I'll tell you what. I'll abstain right now. We'll bring it back. And this was only supposed to be for 6 months because we were going to test it, see how it worked, and withdraw it in 6 months. I'll abstain for now.
But that's what it's reason. To me, doesn't matter, person speaking 30, 40 minutes, meeting go late, I don't mind, because, if I go late, I got less nagging from my wife, so I don't mind. So, I split ahead, I heard the both sides speak, so I'm willing to abstain.
I'm not 100% sure that it could be effective. I was willing to give it a shot for 6 months. However, I think some of the things, the points made tonight about starting on time is very important. I think making sure people stay on topic is very important. And I think it's incumbent on all of us on the council to do things like send information out in newsletters and seek opinions ahead of time so that it doesn't have to come down to the last minute so that we do have enough time to study. So it's tough for me, but I do think Councilman Boggiano's heart was in the right place on this, and that I vote no.
To be limited to 5 minutes, and what I want to say to you guys is, you guys say hurtful things,
I'm here from 10 o'clock in the morning until 12 o'clock at night sometime, and 7 days a week. And I want you to know that if they told me I was going to be here till 4 o'clock in the morning, I might not have run if I had known that in the first place, because I was told this is a part-time job. And with that, I don't agree with the 5 minutes, but I do. So what I would say to you is, I love you guys. I'm a councilwoman and I work hard. And I want you to have all of the rights that you need to give us the right information. And I want to be in my right and sane mind to make the right decisions for you. And when you go on and on and on, you give us more than we can digest or more than we need to digest, and it doesn't do any good. So with that, I vote against the 5 minutes. However, I'm asking you, the people, to respect the fact that you voted for us and help us get through this first reading ordinance with respect and understanding.
We criticize Councilman Boggiano for an ordinance that he took to heart because he's actually caring about the constituents of our city. You should be ashamed of yourself for coming up here and talk about him like that. Again, you know, because my heart is dying to put you on blast to say your name, but I won't do that. But you know who you are. For moving forward, I can bet you, as it is night outside, the minute that you get off topic 1 inch, I'm going to stop you. And if you take offense to that, then too bad. So with that, I say no on this one.
When you are in this seat, and some of you, you say you came to the council meeting 20 years, 15 years, so it seemed like you would be a little sympathetic because we only been here 1 year. And so if you notice, we're trying to really move the city forward and make it work. We really are. And so we believe in democracy. So what I believe in, because I know when we get the package, we get it on Friday, and then on a Monday we do have the caucus meeting. And in the caucus meeting, whoever sponsors the ordinance have a right to speak to the council as long as they choose. Because I believe in equality, I felt like that wasn't fair to the public because you guys only can speak to us once we adopt it, then it comes back for a second reading, then the public can speak. So we understand that that is not enough time. I believe it was not enough time, okay? But we was trying to make it work better. So with that in mind, I vote against it. I believe in the Constitution.
I wouldn't dare to question Councilman Boggiano's intentions. I think all these folks are good folks and have good intentions here. I think the idea of limiting it to 5 minutes is moving in the wrong direction in that way. As I said in the first reading, if we were to begin to restrict the time, we have to find ways to offset and be able to increase public participation in some way so that the public can continue to stay engaged. So for all of those reasons, and I will vote no.
0 votes in the affirmative, 6 votes no. Abstaining, Council members Gajewski, Boggiano, and Yun. 063, final recorded vote defeated.